This is This is definitely and by far the most important video that I have made yet, and this is for two reasons. The first reason is because this weekend, between the Saturday night and the Sunday morning, in 24 hours, we have had 7 farm attacks and 3 farm murders. And as of the time I was making this video, we haven't heard a single word from the mainstream media yet. The other reason is because AfriForum has just released their research on farm murders and the racial aspect surrounding it. This statistics will surely debunk all the arguments of the leftists. We know that the leftists use this argument that farm murders are insignificant and grossly overrepresented in the media, but this will show the truth and also the bias that the media has against farm murders. Let's kick this video off by talking about the 3 farm murders that happened this weekend in 24 hours. The first was well-known strawberry farmer Jeffrey Zettler, the owner of the Mooiberg strawberry farm in Stellenbosch. He was a very big farmer who employed more than 1,000 black employees, and it was also his wife's birthday this weekend. He was stabbed to death on his farm. The second one is Crystal Dawson, 28 years old, and her father Peter Dawson, who was 64 years old, who was shot and killed by 3 farm attackers in their house in Broederstroom, Hartbeespoort on Saturday night as well. Crystal managed to escape, but her father was shot dead, which is sad was that she escaped to the highway and she stopped a motorist who called 10111, which is basically the South African version of 911, and rang 3 times, but 3 times nobody answered the phone. The third person is Kali Skoonraad, 47 years old, who was shot dead on a farm in the Shylock area in Rustenburg in the northwest province of South Africa. All of this is happening in the midst of massive racial tensions in this country. Look at this video, for example, that was released 2 weeks ago.
I don't know what's going to happen in the future. I'm saying to you, we've not called for the killing of white people, at least for now. I can't guarantee the future.
Yeah, but I mean, you'd understand somebody watching that, especially as it gets shared on Twitter, they freak out. It sounds like a genocidal call.
Cry babies.
Now I ask of you, this video is very important, so let's get the ratings up by commenting and liking and sharing this video with everyone on every social media platform. I also don't have any copyright on my video, so you are welcome to download this video from YouTube and upload it to any platform that you want. The biggest problem with the video that you just saw of Malema is that it is a massive lie. At every single event that Malema speaks at, he calls for the slaughter of the Boer, or the farmer, or the white man, or the racist, and he lets his supporters sing the song Kill the Boer and then he dances to it.
Shoot to kill, Umasa. Shoot to kill him. Kiss the poor, the farmer. Kiss the poor, the farmer.
Imagine for 1 second someone with his equal standing in a country like Great Britain, where it would be someone like Boris Johnson, or in a country like America, where it would be someone like Paul Ryan, said something like, kill all the black people, or kill all the Mexicans, and they started singing songs about killing black people and killing Mexicans. Imagine for 1 second what the reaction of the media would be. Yet in South Africa, no reaction at all. The EFF has even gone so far as saying on their official Twitter page, with the blue check mark and all, that there will happen a civil war in this country. After the EFF has said this, people from the ANC like Andile Lungisa said, next year we will take the land by force, basically calling for a civil war. Now, let's dive into the true statistics that was released in the report by AfriForum. I will leave a link to the report in the description below. According to their report, the number of incidents that was reported farm attacks wise was 241. Now it is very important to know that there happened about 737 attacks last year, so most of these attacks were not reported on. This is only referring to the attacks that were actually reported on. Of those 241 farm attacks, 136 of them were farm attacks and 105 of them were farm murders in 2017. Also, 11 vigilante incidents occurred, 3 animal incidents occurred, 2 incidents of worker abuse, 5 incidents of normal crime, 1 of domestic violence, and 1 other. Now, those animal incidents are, for example, things that happened where the farmer mistook someone on his farm for a monkey, like the person that was shot by a pellet gun because the farmer thought he was a monkey, and I think it was night so he couldn't see so well, and he was hunting for monkeys that were stealing his stuff. Those vigilante events are referring to cases like the so-called racist farmers sentenced to prison over the coffin case, for which they were sentenced 11 and 14 years respectively. That was a case where they were forcing a black guy into a coffin after they caught him stealing stock from the farm. Just to put that into perspective, the punishment they got are much higher than most of these convicted farm murders get. I tweeted at the beginning of the year about a farm murder that just got out of jail and tried to commit another farm murder, and then he was shot by the farmer. And that tweet actually got more than 1,000 replies, mostly from black Twitter users who said that the farmer should be prosecuted for killing or for murdering. Now, I have extrapolated the following stats from the article by AfriForum, which I have put the link in the description. So, the total number of incidents, total number of black on white incidents were 737. The number of incidents reported in the media were 206. That's 28%. The total number of white on black attacks were 16. And the total number of white on black attacks reported in the media was also 16. That's 100%. Now, the total of black on white convicted murders last year in 2017 were 73, and 73 of them were reported in the media. That's 100%. The total white on black convicted murders that happened was 0. The total black on white murders that were prosecuted in court were 105, and all 105 of them were reported in the media. And the total white on black murders that were being prosecuted were 2. Both were reported in the media. And the other black on white attacks that happened were 631, of which 101 were reported. That's 16%, and the other white on black attacks that happened were 15, and 15 were reported. I must just quickly add that not all of the numbers that I extrapolated here were from the article. The 737 number that I got for the total black on white attacks was actually in a video. I quoted Ernst Roots there. And the 73 black on white convicted murders I got in another article by the Transvaal Agricultural Union. Now, of course, there might have been others that were not reported in the media, but these are the ones that I know about that were reported in the media. And the rest of the stats, according to AfriForum, that number of 737, most of them were not reported in the media, as you can see. But all of those cases have been documented by AfriForum, so we know that they happened. Thus, we can say that the total black on white convicted murders were infinite times more likely than white on black convicted murders on farms that year, 2017. The total number of black on white murders that were being prosecuted were 5,750% more likely than white on black murders that were being prosecuted. One of the 2 cases of white on black murders being prosecuted, for example, is the Kulini case, where 2 farmers caught a black guy stealing sunflowers on their farm, and the media actually falsely reported that it was a 12-year-old or 13-year-old boy or 11-year-old boy. I can't even remember while I'm recording this, but I'll quickly put the clip in here.
Searching for the missing link, the identity of the 12-year-old boy still unknown.
Okay, so now the SABC performed radiocarbon testing on the body of this alleged victim. I mean, come on, anybody will notice the obvious here, right? And actually what happened was that he was an adult man. And for more than a year, or maybe just under a year now, the state has been prosecuting these two people, but they could not find any evidence of murder, so nobody has been convicted yet. And then finally, other black on white attacks were 4,200% more likely than other white on black attacks. Now here comes the interesting part. How does the media report on these attacks by race? The total number of white on black incidents were 16. It was mentioned 1,206 times by the media though. That means 75 mentions per incident. The total number of black on white incidents were 206, and those were only the 206 incidents that were mentioned in the media. We know of 737 incidents, black on white crimes happening that year. So that's already less than a third that were reported, but the total number of mentions of these 206 incidents were 1,379. Now that's 7 mentions per incident. This is significant if one sees that white on black crimes are being mentioned 11 times more than black on white crimes on farms. Plus, one must also mention that less than a third of the attacks were actually mentioned. That means that white on black crime are mentioned more than 30 times more than black on white crimes. Finally, we get to the reporting of racial descriptions. Now, as you can see on this graph here, also found in the AfriForum research article, is that the SABC reported 43% of all white on black cases and 0% of any black on white cases, where they actually mentioned the race of the perpetrator or the race of the victim. Now, as you can see, all of these mainstream media sources in South Africa, none of them except for The Citizen mentioned any black on white crimes. The Citizen mentioned it in 2% of the cases, while most of them mentioned a significant number of white on black crimes, 43% for example for the SABC. Now this creates a very, very, very dangerous narrative, because the narrative that are being perpetrated is one that black people are being killed off on farms by white people, even though the statistics clearly show us that the opposite is true. I mean, more than 4,000% more cases of violence on farms, black on white, than white on black, and more than 5,000% murders that are being prosecuted, and infinite times more murders that could have actually been proven happened black on white. So black people murdered, in theory, infinite times more people on farms than white people murdered black people on farms. Let that sink in for a moment. And the media is so good at switching the narrative around that the narrative that is believed is the one that white people are the aggressors and black people are the victims. Remember to share this video everywhere you can, and also like it and comment on it to get the ratings up. Before you guys go, I just need to talk about 2 more things. As I mentioned in a previous live stream, I am going to start an Afrikaans channel, and which will focus on countering the propaganda by the state by talking about the real history of South Africa. I want to hold a speech on that somewhere in Pretoria on the 7th of July. I haven't got the venue yet, but please, if you would like to come listen to me speak, send me an email here at poffathermedia@gmail.com. Something else I'm looking forward to a lot is tomorrow at the same time as this video was being released, 5 PM SA time, I've got a very special guest on my channel. It is actually the person who taught me how to debate, Herman Pretorius. Someone on Twitter mentioned that I act all tough just because I'm very good at debating, and then I just realized I'm not really that good at debating, so now I got him on my channel so that you guys can see how someone looks who really is good at debating. And he will talk about how to debate a liberal, so I'm looking forward to that. Also, remember to follow me on all social media platforms, as the links are in the description below, and thank you guys for watching.